Hello, romance book lovers. Welcome to Tales from the Heart. I'm Jenna Harte, and each week I post new episodes from my stories of crime and passion. Right now, we're listening to Old Flames Never Die, Book 2 of the Valentine Mysteries. This week is episode 15, chapter 20 and 21. This week, we finish the book. We find out who the culprit is and what will be next for Jack and Tess. Now, if you'd like to read along or get ahead in the story, you can get Old Flames Never Die from your favorite ebook retailer or save. By buying direct from me, you can visit jennaharte.com/Valentine for information. Old Flames Never Die is the second book in the Valentine Mystery series. So if you missed book 1, Deadly Valentine, you can listen by checking earlier episode postings, or if you'd like to read it, you can get the book for free at my website, jennaharte.com. Now, Tales from the Heart is posted to podcast platforms and YouTube each week. These episodes are edited to censor out intimate content, but if you'd like a version that includes the spicy bits, plus get behind-the-scenes information about stories, bonus content, and more, please join me over on Ream. You can learn more at reamstories.com/Jenna Harte. Now, never miss the mystery of romance by hitting the subscribe button, and remember, all the details and links you might need are a click away in the description. Now, snuggle up, get comfy, and enjoy the show.
Chapter 20. Tess wouldn't have called herself a gun expert, but she knew a little bit from her days as a defense lawyer in the public defender's office. Her inexperienced eye told that Leave's little semi-automatic could be the weapon that killed Charles.
Just looking around,
she answered Liv. Liv lowered the gun.
You're trespassing.
I have permission from the police.
Why?
Because I'm working with them.
Why do you care about my husband's death?
Liv stepped into the room, the gun at her side, but not put away.
How did you know I was here?
Tess asked.
I thought you were at a hotel.
I'm getting the house ready to sell. I saw your car when I pulled up, but I didn't recognize it. My husband was murdered here, and I wondered if maybe the murderer had come back. I could have killed you.
Did you call the police?
Isn't that what any other sane woman would do if she thought there was a murderer on her property?
I'll ask the questions. Why do you hate me?
I don't hate you.
Oh, come on. From the moment you saw me, you hated me. You're so insecure you can't tell that there is no man more committed to a woman than Jack is to you. You'll lose him if you get jealous of every woman he talks to.
You're not every woman. And I'm not naive enough to think you wouldn't want him back if you could.
What makes you think I'd want to?
We are talking about Jack Valentine, aren't we? A woman would have to be dead not to want him.
Liv's lips twitched.
You're right. If I thought I could succeed, I probably would have tried for one more taste. But it's clear he's a one-woman man now. You can't be so dumb as not to see that. So again, why are you after me?
You dragged Jack into a murder, and I'm trying to protect him.
Tess glanced at Liv's gun. She wanted to believe Liv's story about thinking Tess was an intruder, but couldn't quite let herself.
I have an alibi.
Tess shivered, and she realized that the room was getting significantly colder. She looked at the air conditioner pushing cold air into the room. When she turned back, she caught Liv's gaze. They stared at each other for a few moments, and then Liv raised the gun.
You really should have left well enough alone.
I could start now.
A new kind of chill running along Tess's spine.
I'll leave. We'll pretend I wasn't here.
Too late.
If you didn't do it, nothing I find here should worry you.
This time it was Liv who cast a worried glance at the air conditioning unit.
It will be better if you disappear.
Is that why you tried to kill me the other day?
Liv's eyes narrowed.
How'd you know it was me?
Tess hadn't known, but she didn't think it was wise to let Liv know that she'd been tricked to confessing.
You're holding a gun on me now. You're the only person who wants me dead. But why?
You shouldn't have poked your head into my business. The police would have looked at someone else, but you kept pushing it.
How did you know where I'd be?
I had Tanner pick me up and bring me to the house so people would see me here. When he was busy with the horses, I took his truck and headed to your hotel. But you were leaving, so I followed you and almost changed my mind about killing you when I realized you were looking into the land deal with Wilson.
Why did you change your mind?
Jack. I comforted him once. I figured I could do it again.
And have access to his money and prestige.
Liv nodded.
There was no way I was going to seduce him away from you unless you were dead. I should have gone back and finished you.
The reality of Tess's impending death began to sink in.
If I disappear now, it will only bring more suspicion to you.
Maybe. But you're a lawyer, you know it has to be proven. The odds are better for me if you disappear.
The police know I'm here.
As if on cue, Tess's phone rang and both women jumped. She looked at the caller ID.
Speak of the devil.
Answer it, tell him you're fine and hang up.
I can't just hang up. He'll be suspicious.
Do what you have to do to get off the phone.
Tess clicked the answer button.
Hi, Daniel.
Hey, I got your message. Artie says it's possible the time of death could be impacted by air conditioning. Tests would need to be done.
Oh, well, good.
Tess's brain spun in an attempt to let him know she was in trouble, without alerting Liv.
How's it going there?
Good. I'm kind of in the middle of something.
There was a pause.
You sound strange.
Yes, a little.
Are you in trouble?
That's right.
Relief flooded Tess. Liv waved her gun and mouthed,
Get off.
I've got to run.
I'm on my way.
Sure. Okay. Liv grabbed the phone and clicked the off button.
You don't follow directions very well.
You don't want him to be suspicious, do you?
Liv tossed the phone on the desk.
You and I are going to take a trip.
Tess's mind raced. How was she going to get out of this? Why couldn't she have left well enough alone? She could have let Liv get away with murder, not cause strain in her relationship with Jack, and live to see another day.
Why are you doing this?
Why am I killing you, or why did I kill Charles?
Why kill Charles? You get no financial gain.
Tess determined if she kept Liv talking, she'd buy time until Daniel arrived.
I killed him because he knew all along he couldn't have children but never said a word. That baby was going to ensure that no matter what happened, I'd be taken care of. It may have not been his, but it was a Danforth. But then I lost the baby and he was going to leave me. Because I cheated, I wouldn't get anything.
You have a prenup.
Yes. A prenup with a morality clause. Every time I was with another man, with Jack,
She added.
he didn't give a damn because it wasn't going to cost him anything if we divorced.
But you lost that baby in March. Why kill him now?
He told me last weekend he was leaving.
Why didn't he leave when you told him you were pregnant? Did he know the baby was Kevin's?
Tess asked. Liv laughed.
Of course he did. He may have been aloof, but the man had eyes everywhere. I didn't know he knew, of course, until he told me he was leaving. He got a sick thrill watching me squirm as he told me he knew about all the affairs, about Kevin and the baby. He said something about enjoying watching me put the noose around my own neck. I guess I had the last laugh.
Tess tried to take it all in.
You used the air conditioning to cover up the time of death. Did Boone help you with that?
No. One thing I've learned from cop shows is that the less other people know about your crime, the better. Charles was a stickler about not wasting money, and I knew Boone would notice the lights and air on eventually. I just had to hope he noticed in enough time that the room would warm up enough to fool the medical examiner.
And that Boone wouldn't notice his boss was dead when he did. It had to be why she put the blanket over him to hide the bullet hole in his chest.
So you planned all this, including Jack?
Actually, I hadn't planned to kill Charles that morning. But he sat there eating that damned egg white omelet and told me how he was divorcing me, selling the house and moving to Tennessee or Kentucky or something. He gave me a week to move out.
That is cold.
Tess agreed, hoping it would calm Liv down.
So I found my gun.
She waved it in front of Tess.
I got this from an old boyfriend. No one knew I had it. I grabbed it out of an old shoebox, came here to Charles' office and shot the heartless bastard.
Where'd you keep the gun after that?
I figured I'd be a suspect even though I was out of town, so I buried it in the woods. I picked it up again the day I decided to kill you.
Tess ignored Liv's comment and instead asked a question that popped into her head at the mention of the woods.
What about the hunting accident? Did you try to kill Charles then?
No, that wasn't me. It was probably some dumb hunter who didn't know better. But I'll admit, I wished whoever it was had succeeded.
Tess wondered what it was in people that they could murder so easily. She was raised by heartless, unloving people and could have inherited quite a bit if they were dead. But it never occurred to her to kill them. Sure, she used to wish terrible things on them, like a swarm of bee stings, but she never entertained the idea of killing them. She chose to walk away from them and their money.
Now let's get out of here before someone else shows up.
As Liv moved around the desk, Tess frantically searched for a weapon or something she could use to get away. She saw her purse on the desk and picked it up.
You aren't going to need your purse where you're going.
You wouldn't want me to leave it here. It would be one more thing to trace me to you. Where are we going anyway?
Tess?
Both women looked up to see Jack standing in the doorway.
Looks like I owe you another apology.
He stepped into the room.
Don't come closer, Jack.
Liv pointed the gun at him and then back at Tess.
I didn't want to do this, but she left me no choice.
And what about me?
He moved closer to them.
Are you going to kill me too? You might as well. Without Tess, I'd be as good as dead anyway.
Tess felt her heart go gooey, but the butt of Liv's gun poked in her side reminded her they were in a grave situation. She realized that Liv was hesitating. Could it be she really did care for Jack? Seizing the moment, Tess swung her purse upward, hitting Liv's hand. There was a loud bang as the gun flew up. Remembering her self-defense course in college, Tess jammed her elbow into Liv's belly. Liv pitched forward, giving Tess the opportunity to knee her in the chin. It wasn't pretty, but Liv was on the floor writhing in pain. Tess grabbed the fallen gun, feeling triumphant.
Christ, that hurts.
Tess's head jerked up. Jack was slumped against the doorframe, blood oozing between fingers covering his abdomen.
Oh God, you're shot.
She ran to him, dropping to her knees.
Jack.
She took off her sweater and pressed it to his stomach.
Ouch, goddammit, Tess.
He tried to push her hand away.
No, we have to stop the bleeding. Oh God, Jack, there's so much blood. We need to call... Where's my phone?
She scanned the room.
My pocket.
My phone is in your pocket.
My phone, my pocket.
Oh, right. Sorry, I'm just...
She jammed her fingers into his pants pocket and searched for his phone. Jack growled in pain.
Another time I'd enjoy this, but...
He grabbed her hand.
My coat pocket.
Right.
Her hands shook as she found his coat pocket and pulled out his phone.
Breathe, Tess.
Okay.
She dialed 911, giving the dispatch Liv's address.
Yes, he's conscious, but he's bleeding badly. Please hurry.
Tess, on the off chance that things don't go well...
No, Jack, don't you do this. You told me you'd always be here. All I had to do was take a chance. Well, I've taken it, damn it, so you fight.
The dispatcher said something about keeping pressure on the wound, so Tess pressed her sweater more firmly against Jack's wound. He growled and winced in pain.
Just know that I love you, always.
Tess heard a movement behind her. Turning, she saw Liv moving towards a window at the back of the room. Tess picked up the gun and pointed.
Liv, sit your ass down before I shoot it down.
Liv stared at Tess as if considering.
It will be murder if you shoot me.
Only if I kill you.
The two women stared. The air was still despite the blowing of the air conditioning.
Sit. Down.
Liv dropped to the floor.
On your hands.
What?
Sit on your hands.
Okay, fine.
Tess turned her attention to Jack.
You kick ass, counselor.
He was being funny, but he looked bad. Really bad.
Don't talk, just relax. Where are they?
She looked out the door and down Liv's driveway. His lids closed.
Jack.
It's okay. I'm just resting.
He opened them again.
Tess,
What?
will you marry me?
Tess gaped.
Just because you think you're dying doesn't mean I'll say yes.
His lips curved up.
I know it doesn't seem very romantic, but really, if you think about it, it's a romantic proposal.
You're delirious.
No.
He coughed, wincing in pain as he did.
Jack, just...
The way you took her down and just now sit your ass down before I shoot it down. That was, well, it was very sexy.
That's not a reason to get married.
I love you and...
Jack, now is not the time. Wait until you're better.
Tess heard sirens coming up the drive.
Help is here. Just lay back and relax.
Marry me, Tess.
The ambulance and police vehicles skidded to a halt outside the door. The police came in first, securing the scene and taking the gun from Tess. She heard Liv concocting a story about how she was attacked, but fortunately Daniel had already radioed the officers and told them the situation. They put restraints on Liv and escorted her to their car. With the police okay, the medics entered the office and tended to Jack.
What the hell?
Daniel ran through the door.
Jesus, Tess, are you okay? You've got blood all over you.
It's not mine. It's Jack's.
The paramedics lifted Jack onto a stretcher and prepared to move him to the ambulance.
Is he going to be okay?
She rushed to him.
He's losing a lot of blood. We need to get him to the hospital.
As they wheeled Jack out, he lifted his head. Despite the pain and loss of strength, his brilliant blue-green eyes looked at her, to her soul, begging for an answer.
Yes.
His lips curved upward, giving her a glimpse of his dimple as the paramedics shut the door and drove away. Chapter 21.
Carter's not happy.
Daniel said, referring to the assistant Commonwealth's attorney assigned to prosecute Liv. Tess sat in Daniel's office a week after Liv's arrest. She was tired of answering the same questions over the last few days, but put up with it because Daniel had been such a rock the hours following Jack's shooting. Despite the blood loss, Jack pulled through and would be released as soon as Tess could get out of Daniel's office. None too soon either, because she and Cora, whom Tess arranged to come to Jefferson Tavern to see Jack in the hospital, were nearing World War III.
Why? The case is good.
Your prints are on the gun, in Jack's blood.
Daniel pointed out. Tess shrugged.
The caretaker can't be sure of the time he lowered the thermostat or what the temperature was when he did.
Do all of Carter's cases come so neatly packaged?
You have to agree the defense has some things to work with.
Sure. I'd point that stuff out too, but you've got my testimony.
Yes, the lady whose prints are on the gun.
Daniel reminded her.
You've got Jack's testimony.
The guy deliriously in love with you. He'd say anything.
Not if I shot him, he wouldn't.
Daniel didn't look convinced.
How about the fact that there is gunshot residue on your shirt?
Tess waved that away.
I'm sure there is an expert somewhere that will be able to testify that the residue on Liv is more consistent with her holding the gun when it was fired.
You're on tape threatening Liv.
Sheesh. Tess blew out a breath.
Is Carter really worried?
Shouldn't he be? You're a defense attorney. You know the problem areas.
Tess nodded. If she and Jack hadn't been involved, it might have been a fun case to defend, but she felt certain there was enough to successfully prosecute Liv.
Maybe I should offer to consult with the Commonwealth attorney if he's so worried.
I'd stay out of it if I were you. I'm curious how you figured out about the air conditioning.
It was in the report. I should have realized it sooner. I'm glad the medical examiner was able to use what we had to recalculate a time of death putting Liv at home. Assuming, of course, that Boone's statement holds up.
It just goes to show how the insignificant things can be significant.
Right, if that's all I need to run. Jack's getting out of the hospital today.
How is he?
Tess smiled.
He's good now that he's being released.
Is it true he proposed?
How'd you know?
Tess searched Daniel's face for clues as to his feelings about it.
The 911 call, it's recorded as well.
Oh.
Some of the dispatchers think you're a terrible person for not saying yes right away. Others thought it was romantic how you used it to keep him conscious. There's a pool betting on your answer.
How much?
Daniel rolled his eyes.
I said yes, but I don't think he remembers. He hasn't mentioned it again.
Will you hold him to it?
Yes.
Tess answered without any hesitation.
Well, congratulations then.
Where are we going? Jack sat in the passenger seat of the car as Tess drove.
I just need to make a quick stop at my house. I hope that's all right.
No, it wasn't all right. Jack wondered if he'd ever get Tess's full commitment. She had agreed to marry him, although she may have just said it because she was afraid he was dying. It didn't matter. He was going to hold her to it. He just needed to wait until he was back at full strength before engaging in the conversation. I'm tired and hurt.
It'll be just a minute. I promise.
Tess pulled into the driveway. The house was coming along too fast. In a week or so, it would be done, and Tess's would no doubt be moving back in.
Come on.
She opened his door.
Come with me. I want to show you how great it looks.
Jack frowned. You know my feeling about this.
Come on.
Fine. He pulled himself out of the car. The pain medication worked pretty well, except when he tried to stand up straight, or walk. Tess opened the front door.
There's drywall. Finally.
Nice, he said flatly. Can we leave now?
I added French doors to the bedroom. Come look.
She looped her arm through his and escorted him to the bedroom. Nice. Actually, it looked great, but he wasn't about to tell her that.
The first time we made love was in this room. You should show more reverence.
I revered you, not the room. She smiled.
You shouldn't be so grumpy.
He didn't like it much either. The cure is to take me home.
I want to show you the kitchen.
Great. She escorted him back to the main area. Outside, he heard a car pull up. A few moments later, a woman poked her head through the front door.
Hello.
Jane, right on time.
Wow, Tess, this is really coming along. It's about time to pick colors.
Colors? Jack asked.
Carpet, vinyl.
Jane, this is Jack Valentine. Jack, this is Jane Crenshaw.
Nice to meet you, he managed. The idea that Tess had an interior decorator devastated him. I'll meet you in the car.
Wait.
Tess patted his arm.
I'll meet you right out front.
He shrugged and stepped out into the warm May air. Things had gone so well in New York. Thinking of the trip reminded him that he'd promised to go slow with her, but he'd proposed and she'd said yes, damn it. A moment later, Jane walked past him to go to her car, and Tess came to stand on the step behind him. You can't do this, Tess. He knew he was pushing, but the thought of her moving back into the house was more than he could handle. He turned to look at her. You said you'd marry me. Even if it was coerced, you said yes. Don't think...
So you do remember.
She looked a little too amused. What was he missing? Of course I remember. I just haven't felt very good the last few days.
I was a little worried. It wouldn't be smart to sell my house if you weren't going to marry me.
Jack attributed his slowness to the drugs. All the points finally connected when he saw Jane pound a for sale sign into Tess's front lawn.
I don't have a place to live now.
Tess grinned up at him. Jack thought his heart would burst through his chest. You have your hotel room.
I checked out.
That's not very smart.
I could call Daniel.
Don't you dare. He gripped her chin with his thumb and index finger. You're killing me, Tess.
Jack, let's go home.
Thank you so much for listening to this episode of Tales from the Heart. I hope that you enjoyed Old Flames Never Die, and you will be back when we're ready to start with this Ring I Thee Kill. Now remember, you can listen to full uncensored episodes over at reamstories.com/Jenna Harte. And if you'd like to read along or get ahead in the story, you can get Old Flames Never Die or any of the Valentine books from your favorite ebook retailer, or save by buying direct from me. All the details and links you might need are click away in the description. Now don't miss when we start the next episode, starting with Book 3, With This Ring I Thee Kill. Hit the subscribe button so you know when it's posted. Thank you again for listening, and until next time, this is Jenna Harte wishing you peace, love, and happily ever after.